Welcome to R&R's Ask the Expert. I'm your host, Mildred Ingram, R&R's editor-in-chief, and today I'm joined by special guest, Cora Alexander. I want to introduce Cora to the R&R audience as we have an exciting new partnership. Cora will be doing a video series as well as a podcast on drying tactics and large law support and just really the works. And I'm not going to get all into it. I'm going to hand it over to Cora. Cora, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Mildred, for having me, and thank you, R&R, for having me as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. So can you please introduce yourself and provide a brief overview of your background and expertise?
I can definitely do that. So I'm Cora Alexander. Some people may know me as the Drying Diva. I specialize in large loss, how to get paid, and specialty drying equipment. I allow the building envelope to speak, and I focus on drying the building the most efficient way possible. So that's a little bit of what I do.
Perfect. And so what would you say inspired you to pursue a career in the cleaning and restoration field?
I fell into restoration. Well, I guess it kind of fell into me because getting wet from the top down from a building, and I was in the service industry. I mean, we're all in the service industry. We're in the service industry now, but I was in the service industry and working, and all of a sudden all this water starts coming in. This is my first large loss. Well, my first large loss, and it's literally coming down, and I'm like, get the electronics. We're not going to open it. I remember one of my customers, who I like to call myself the late prodigy of the late Spencer Hess. He was my business partner, my mentor. He really, truly taught me not everything that I know, but he is my foundation. Yes. And that's really how I got into it. And I didn't know how big Spence really was because he used to be like, this big drying guy. And I was on the first standards. And I'm like, what are the standards? You know, like I didn't understand later on in life. I was like, okay, this guy really knows what he's doing. He's a mad scientist, but he really knows what he's doing. And I can say that's really where I started. And my foundation is really with that in commercial drying technologies and with Spencer Hess.
Okay. So could you share maybe some notable achievements or projects that you've worked on?
Yeah, definitely. That is actually a really good question. So being a subcontractor and working for the contractors, as the contractors, I've worked a lot of different projects. Some I can't disclose, some I can, but every project that a closed claim is a good claim, in my opinion, is an achievement. But unique projects, far as hotels, 20, 30 stories, can't get equipment, can't use an elevator. Those ones are always fun. I've dried churches with Tiffany lead crystal windows. I've done projects where I remember we were at a rocket factory, and I remember Spencer saying, the dew point, it's about to rain in here. You can't turn on the AC. Just different things. And really what is an achievement too is I get to sit back and I get to see all these projects that all these different contractors do. And I get to see these projects go really well, or some that really have struggled far as the projects. And it could be for multiple reasons. And I get to take back and look at that project in a whole and the way the different contractors approached it, and bring it to my next contractor or my previous contractors and say, hey, I've had this experience doing this before. Let's not jump down this rabbit hole. Or I can say, hey guys, I've done this before and it's really worked out very well. Let's consider that. So I consider all those achievements. I would say more specifically for me and my personal achievements, because I feel like it's so important to have personal goals in this industry as well, was when I got my first invite to building science summer camp from Joe Stebrick. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you're familiar with what that is, but it's some of the best building scientists. It's not just restoration specific. It's building science from all over the world, architects, ASHRAE, HVAC manufacturers, patent holders. It is the best of the best. And Joe personally handpicks these people in their own wheelhouse, me being dehumidification and specialty drying, and got the invite. So I would say that was my largest personal achievement. So I remember when I got the invite to summer camp, I'm like, I'm going to summer camp. And everyone's like, you're going to camp. And I'm like, no, this is a big deal. And they're like, you're going to summer camp. So I would say that would be my best personal achievement is going to summer camp.
So what motivates and like drives you in your work though?
So what motivates me? That is another really, really good question. You know, I love the legacy that I'm continuing on. Spence passed away in January last year, and he was a big part of me and will always be a big part of me, and I miss him truly. So carrying on that legacy, but doing it in the Drawing Divas way. I am a woman in a predominantly male industry, and us as women in this industry, I feel like we need to stick together. We need to be collaborative. And there's a term that I like to say all the time is this is a really big but small industry. We all know each other for the most part. So I don't ever want to burn a bridge. I always want to collaborate, and I always want to be friends. I always want to leave off on a good term. It's, hey, we may not got along on this professionally, but personally, like it's nothing personal. So I want to motivate and drive women that, hey, you can do construction too. You can do a specialty area of construction. Don't allow these big diesel machines and these big diesel generators or these big buildings to scare you from doing anything. You can do anything you put your mind to. And I've done that time and time again with every single project. I kind of amaze myself sometimes. So that's what really motivates me is the legacy, the challenge, the roadblocks, which I don't really feel like me being a woman is a roadblock. I feel like I use it to my advantage, and I motivate other women and minorities. Hey, use this to your advantage. Don't look at it and say, hey, this is what's holding me back. No, that can also what push you forward in some ways too.
Exactly. So what would you say are your like unique skills or perspectives that you bring to the table?
So that is a great question too. So what I always like to do and what I love to teach, I'm a firm believer in educating, is the first thing is people say, hey, Cora, what do you do that's unique? What's your unique value that you bring to the table? And that's definitely with the diesel desiccants. And I come from the manufacturing realm of things. Spencer had 13 patents. His last one we co-patent together. But I would say my unique thing is drying efficiently. And then I also love to dry by the square foot price. And I love to teach contractors on how to do it. And then not even necessarily drawing by square foot price, because if we're going on a job and you're talking apples, I'm going to communicate apples with you. If I go on a job and we're talking oranges, I'm going to be talking oranges to you. So let's make sure that we're speaking the same language before we even focus on what page of the book we're on. And then let's focus on, okay, let's be on the same book now. We're speaking the same language. We're in the same book. Let's focus on now being on the same chapter. And then let's focus on being on the same page. Because if I'm talking apples and you're talking onions, it's just never going to work. So let's start there. And then it's drying the building the most efficient way possible. Let's look at my atmospheric conditions inside the building, outside the building. Let's look at what is the most efficient piece of equipment that we can put on this building. How can we attack that? How can we document that process? And then from there, we can say, hey, this is how we're going to do it. And that's kind of how I get to a square foot drawing price and or cubic foot drawing price. It's just another piece of math. But I like to keep things super simple. It's the KISS mentality. And that is really what I would say my unique achievement is, or what I uniquely do, I guess. And that's how I'm the drying diva, because I bring this stats to it. Like, we can do this. It's going to be this price a square foot. And they're like, huh? How does she, what? Like, who is this girl? And so yes, that's what I like to do.
Okay. So do you have any like future goals or aspirations?
Yeah, definitely. So I have some major mentors in this industry, and I love them all. And I would say continuing to be mentored by those people is a goal. Maintaining those relationships, because relationships is hard. It's hard. I mean, to say, hey, going to conventions, to doing large loss, to be sleep deprived, and maintaining those relationships is really hard. So one of my goals is to remain a good friend to all my friends and to all my mentors, and to continue to learn. I would say to be considered an expert in this industry. Thank you for this video, because it, you know, that kind of gives me my achievement, my goals. It's like, I'm an expert. What? Okay. There's sometimes that I like to play this, I'm a dumb blonde, but there's sometimes where it's like, it feels really good to know that somebody relies on me and my expert opinion. That's what I want to continue to do, being a younger, different demographic to this industry, and reviving it really is my goal, is reviving this industry and bringing it back to the basics of, let's keep things super simple. Let's get people paid. Let's get people back in their homes. Let's get people back in their businesses, and let's do it right. And let's do it at a fair price. That is my goal ultimately, is to be considered an expert in all that. Okay.
So last but not least, is there any advice you would like to share with the audience?
Yes, advice. Lots of advice. Don't be crabs in a bucket. No.
Yes, well, that's a good one. That's a good one. Keep that one. We'll check mark that one.
No, and not that goes back. Don't burn any bridges. Always be a friend. Always be kind. Always be considerate with others. We're dealing with people at the end of the day, and they're worst of the worst situations, regardless is if it's a homeowner, a business owner. And yes, we're all here to make money, but be kind to one another, including your fellow restoration companies, your fellow colleagues. It's okay to have a fair and an easy and a kind debate, but let's not beat each other up. There's enough work and room for everybody. And just to be kind to everybody. You never know what somebody's going through, and it can make or break somebody's day. So I would say that is my biggest piece of advice. Don't burn any bridges, and be kind.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I can't remember exactly what the quote is specifically, but I know that I follow this woman, and she's like, if you can't have a good day, don't you dare go mess up anybody else's. Okay.
Yes.
So, absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. And Cora, thank you so much for your time and your insight. And so before we go, where can the listeners connect with you?
So I have my LinkedIn, Cora Alexander. They're more than welcome to add me on my personal Facebook page as well. That is Cora Bell. I just reopened that. I want people, I'm a friend, you know, I will be your friend before anything. I will always be real with you. I will always be honest with you. And I'm going to have your back. And if I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to be there. So I consider each person I connect with really, truly to be a friend of mine. So LinkedIn, which is under Cora Alexander. We have the website launching, which is thedryingdiva.com. And then you can feel free to always reach out to me at Rent DEI as well. So I do work with Scott Tarpley, and I like to say since we combined, since he acquired me, and I was the most expensive piece there. It's a joke. I really wasn't. But since he acquired me, I like to consider ourselves the largest privately held, or one of the largest privately held equipment rental companies, and always educating the different types of drying equipment out there, and understanding it. So they can always reach out to me at Rent DEI, LinkedIn at Cora Alexander, or my personal Facebook at Cora Bell, or thedryingdiva.com.
Perfect. Again, the video series and the podcast will be coming very soon. Again, we are super excited to be working with you, Cora. I know that the audience is going to love you as well. This is the introduction, and you will be seeing so much more of her. And make sure to continue to follow us for more information. And yeah, that's what we have. That's what we have, guys. This is exciting. We're starting some great new things.
I love it. It. Let's get those buildings dry.
Absolutely. Let's get them dry. So this has been R&R's Ask the Expert with Cora Alexander. Thank you guys for listening.